Let's talk about your father as he was not around. He was away. There was a sacrifice there. Did he ever address that sacrifice directly with you? Did you acknowledge it? Did he, because he's sacrificing to be away from the family.
You know what? During my growing days, I didn't realize that.
Mm.
I was not close to him at all. Also, when I'd look at other kids and their parents around, uh, it did, I had a lot of questions. You know, where's my dad?
Mm-hmm.
I when I used to play sport. I'm a musician. I used to play. I used to sing for my concerts. I, my mom was busy, so sometimes she would come and I'd see other parents, and I'd be like, and it's only later that I realized. I mean, in your teens, at least with me, you're not able to, connect the dots. Your thinking is it's a very immature way of thinking, and uh, it's only later when I was, even when I was in my undergrad, I didn't, I was like, I got to spend a little more time with him during my undergrad days because I used to travel to meet him during our vacation.
Mm-hmm.
So I used to see him more often, every 6 months, and we used to go there once a year. He used to come back. Otherwise, it was hard life in Saudi Arabia. He would get 30 days of vacation every year, and he'd come down during Christmas or the summer holidays. And yeah, so it was a very disconnected relationship for most of my life. But uh, I think later in life, once I, particularly when I was doing my master's, and I realized how expensive this whole thing is. Understood that, I've actually I've had such an easy ride, and it's then that uh, it started kicking in,
Mm-hmm.
and e- ever since I think yeah, since those days until today, there hasn't been a single day in my life where I've not spoken to him.
Wow.
I talk to him every morning. He's the first person that I talk to when I wake up. I speak to him and then ask him how my mom is. Deep in my heart, I have that, sense of regret that, I didn't really, I didn't have a connection with him. I built that connection so much later in life.
Mm-hmm.
And yeah, and I'm grateful for that because uh, he's a, uh, it- growing, you want to look at a father figure, right? And if he's not around, it's really hard to, uh, but now when I think about it, despite the distance, um, I think he showed us what a father should do, because I think he made a bigger sacrifice than any of us,
Mm-hmm.
you know.
When you were a child, did that manifest as anger? Were you mad at your dad for not being there? Did it make you
Yeah,
feel unloved?
I thought he didn't care.
But it was the opposite.
It was the opposite. He went there for our sake. He went there to give me a good life.
Mm-hmm.
Growing up, I didn't realize that at all. And that guilt, you know, I wish I was you know, I didn't understand this growing up.
Uh-huh.
So, yeah.
Do you think it would have helped if he would have told you the lie? Or do you think you wouldn't have heard it?
Back in the day, there were no mobile phones, and calling internationally was extremely expensive.
Mm-hmm.
Once in 15 days or once a month, we'd get to talk for 3 minutes, and that itself was very expensive.
Mm-hmm.
So, those were factors that added to it as well.
Mm-hmm. I live next to, I was born and raised in the middle of Kansas next to an army base. And oftentimes you would see the troops deploy and the father figure or the one of the right would leave, and you have a similar structure of sacrifice by a parent that may not be fully recognized by the kids at that time. And there's some similarities that I see with father figures sacrificing for their families or for their kids. That is, um, I would have classmates that were in a very similar situation, and I'm not sure if knowing that dad is away for a specific reason helps, or if that is fully comprehended by the kids, and that's something I think is worth exploring. Yeah.